Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are embarking on a breathtaking mythological journey. We're going to unpack the chronological epic behind one of the most revered spiritual sites in the world. Get ready, because this story is absolutely spectacular.
I mean, think about it. How did a single strike on the chest of the universe's creator lead to the richest temple on Earth? Sounds pretty wild, right? But this one shocking act of defiance literally set off a cosmic chain reaction that brought divinity right down to Earth. Let's jump straight into how this whole thing started. Section 1. The Test of Bhrigu. To understand the origins of Tirupati Balaji, we have to travel way back to a massive yagna. The great sages were having this huge debate. Who among the Holy Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva, was the absolute supreme deity? So they tasked the brilliant, but kind of notoriously short-tempered Sage Bhrigu Muni to test them. First, he hits up Sachaloka, but his dad, Lord Brahma, is so deep into the Vedas he completely ignores him. Annoyed, Bhrigu heads over to Kailash, interrupts Lord Shiva's private time with Goddess Parvati, and nearly causes a total disaster. Finally, boiling with rage at this point, he storms into Vaikuntha. He sees Lord Vishnu peacefully resting and does the unthinkable. He literally kicks the Supreme Lord right in the chest. But Vishnu? He doesn't even get mad. He just gently massages Bhrigu's foot, asking if the sage hurt himself. In doing so, he secretly crushes the invisible third eye of arrogance on Bhrigu's foot. Vishnu's profound calmness right there proved his supremacy. Section 2. Descent to Earth. Now, Vishnu might have forgiven the sage, but the fallout from this was huge. You see, Lord Vishnu's chest is the eternal home of Goddess Lakshmi. So for her, this wasn't just some attack on her husband, it was a massive violation of her own honor and her home. Deeply hurt and pretty furious that Vishnu didn't punish the guy, she basically said, "Where my honor is not protected, I cannot stay." With a really heavy heart, she packed up, abandoned Vaikuntha, and descended to Earth, settling in modern-day Kolhapur to perform severe penance. Well, without Goddess Lakshmi, Vaikuntha just completely lost its glory. Lord Vishnu simply couldn't handle the separation, so he follows her. He leaves heaven, descends to Earth as a mortal named Srinivas, and wanders to the Seshachalam hills, which we now know as Tirumala. There, he starts meditating deep inside an anthill. But here's the catch. Because he's in a human form now, the creator of the universe actually starts experiencing human suffering. We're talking intense hunger and thirst. Naturally, the cosmos couldn't just sit back and watch the Lord suffer like that. So we get this beautiful, secret, divine intervention. Lord Brahma transforms himself into a cow, Lord Shiva becomes a calf, and the sun god Surya disguises himself as a cowherd. This divine cow ends up being sold to the local Chola king, and every single day while out grazing, the cow would sneak off to that exact anthill and just empty its milk directly onto it, feeding the meditating Lord Srinivas. But you know, secrets never stay hidden for long. The queen notices that the cow isn't giving any milk at home and orders the cowherd to go check it out. The guy catches the cow emptying its milk over the anthill, gets totally enraged, and actually throws an axe at it. But Lord Srinivas emerges from the anthill and takes that brutal blow right to his own head. The cowherd drops dead from pure shock. When the Chola king rushes to the scene, a bleeding Srinivas curses him, saying, "I curse you to become a pishacha, a wandering spirit." Why the king? Because ultimately a king is responsible for the righteous behavior of his servant. So now, Srinivas is injured, bleeding, and wandering the forests looking for a place to stay. He bumps into Varaha Swami, an earlier avatar of Vishnu, who already lived in these hills. Srinivas asks for just a small piece of land. Varaha Swami agrees, but with one very strict condition. Any devotee who comes to visit Srinivas in the future has to pay their respects to Varaha Swami first. And it's incredible because to this very day, centuries later, millions of pilgrims honor that exact same pact when they visit Tirumala. Okay, this next part builds an absolutely mind-blowing connection across time. Varaha Swami sends the injured Srinivasa to an old ascetic woman named Bakula Devi to be taken care of. And guess who she is? She's the reincarnation of Yashoda, the foster mother of Lord Krishna from the previous yuga. Back in the day, Krishna promised a heartbroken Yashoda that she would eventually get to witness his wedding. Now, fast forward to the Kali Yuga, and she becomes Srinivas's earthly mother, setting the whole stage for that promise to finally be fulfilled. Section 3. Meeting Princess Padmavathi.
With Srinivasa settled in and cared for, the story shifts beautifully to the emergence of his eternal counterpart. The righteous king Akasha was plowing the earth, getting ready for a huge yagna to ask the gods for an heir. Out of nowhere, his golden plow hits something hard. The earth opens up, and out blooms this massive, thousand-petaled golden lotus, and resting right inside, a radiant baby girl. He names her Padmavathi. Now, the king had no idea, but this child was actually a divine avatar of Goddess Lakshmi herself. Cut to a few years later, Srinivasa is out hunting in the forest and ends up chasing a wild elephant. This chaotic chase leads him straight into the royal gardens of Narayanavanam, right where Princess Padmavathi happens to be playing. When they lock eyes, it is not just some random chance encounter. It's the magnetic, cosmic reunion of Vishnu and Lakshmi. They instantly fall deeply in love, even though they end up parting ways without saying a word. I absolutely love this part. Srinivasa goes home, totally love-struck, and literally refuses to eat. But he's got a problem. How does a poor ascetic convince a king and queen to let him marry their daughter? He comes up with a brilliant disguise. He dresses up as a Soji, a female fortune-teller, and marches right into the palace. He predicts to the queen that her daughter's destined to marry Lord Vishnu himself, who is currently disguised as a forest dweller. Once the royals are fully convinced by this divine prophecy, Bakula Devi shows up with the official marriage proposal, and the king joyfully accepts. Section 4. The Divine Marriage. So, the marriage is officially on, but Lord Srinivasa faces a pretty massive hurdle here. He's an ascetic living in the forest who has renounced all his wealth. How exactly do you fund a lavish royal wedding? Well, he drafts what has got to be history's most fascinating loan agreement. He calls up Lord Kubera, the treasurer of the gods, who loans Srinivasa a staggering 1 crore 14 lakh ram mudra. That's millions of gold coins. The terms, Srinivasa agrees to pay interest on this loan until the absolute end of the Kali Yuga. And here is exactly why this matters to you and me today. Srinivasa promised that the future offerings made by his devotees would go straight toward paying off this divine interest. So when millions of people visit Tirumala today and drop wealth into the hundi, the donation box, they aren't just making a temple donation. They are actively participating in a mythological financial contract, literally helping to pay off the cosmic debt of the Lord's wedding. How cool is that? Thanks to Kubera's massive loan, the wedding was a spectacle for the ages. I mean, the fire god Agni himself was the head chef. And during the festivities, that cursed Chola king we talked about earlier finally found his redemption. He showed up and presented Lord Srinivasa with this magnificent golden crown. The exact moment the Lord placed the crown on his head, the curse was instantly broken, and the king was freed. Section 5. Transformation into stone. We've reached the climax of our explainer. Srinivasa and Padmavathi were living a simple, happy life on the Tirumala hills. But hey, in mythology, peace never lasts long before a massive twist drops. That troublemaker sage, Narada Muni, goes over the Kolhapur and casually drops a bomb on Goddess Lakshmi, who, remember, is still doing penance. He tells her that her husband just married someone else. Absolutely furious, Lakshmi storms all the way to Tirumala, and a huge, incredibly tense confrontation breaks out between the two goddesses. Lakshmi is demanding answers as his eternal consort, but Padmavathi reveals her own cosmic secret. She is actually the avatar of Vedavati, a woman who Lord Rama, an earlier avatar of Vishnu, had promised to marry in a previous yuga. So imagine this. Lord Srinivasa is completely surrounded by the conflicting demands of these two powerful goddesses. He looks at the situation, and then he looks far into the future. He realizes that humanity, living in this chaotic, suffering-filled era of Kali Yuga, desperately needs a fixed, stable, and easily accessible God to anchor their faith. So in this profound act of ultimate compassionate sacrifice, the living, breathing Lord Srinivasa literally transforms himself into a solid stone deity, right there in front of their eyes. Witnessing this unbelievable sacrifice for humanity, the immense anger of both goddesses instantly just melts into deep sorrow and profound love. Realizing the bigger picture of his divine play, they decide they are never leaving his side again. They transform themselves into golden figures and permanently embed themselves right onto the stone idol's chest. Sridevi, representing Lakshmi, takes her place on his left, and Bhudevi, representing Padmavati, takes her place on his right. United for all of eternity, exactly as devotees see them in the sanctum today. Take a second and just think about this. The creator of the entire universe endured kicks, intense hunger, a massive debt, and ultimately turned himself to solid stone, all just to remain accessible to us forever. It's an incredibly powerful thought.
isn't it? So, what will you ask him when you finally make your journey to visit Tirumala? I really hope this deep dive brought the magnificent epic of Tirupati Balaji to life for you. If you love this explainer and want to join us for more incredible divine narratives, do us a quick favor. Make sure to like this explainer and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us bring more of these amazing stories straight to your screen. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.